Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle something huge in machine learning, classification. We're going to break down how a model goes from just guessing the odds to making a final call. And we'll see why just being accurate can actually be a really, really bad thing. Okay, let's just start with something you deal with every single day. How in the world does your email decide what's spam? It feels like it's just magic, right? But it's not a guess. It's a really powerful decision-making process, and we're going to pull back the curtain on it right now. All right, first up, from probability to decision. See, to get to that final spam or not spam verdict, we've got to get inside the model's head. And the thing is, these models don't see in black and white. They think in shades of gray. It all starts not with a yes or no, but with a probability. Yeah, exactly. A model doesn't just point and say, spam or not spam. Its first job is to calculate a probability score, just a number between 0 and 1. So instead of a simple verdict, it's more like, I'm feeling about a 0.99 on this one. Pretty sure it's spam. Or maybe, this one's a 0.51, so I'm barely leaning towards spam. But look, a probability, that's not a decision, is it? We need a final answer. So what do? We have to draw a line in the sand. And that line has a name, the classification threshold. It's the simple rule we create that says, okay, if the score is above this line, we'll call it spam. If it's below, we'll call it not spam. Now let's see how this actually plays out. Check this out. If we set a really high bar, a threshold of 0.90, our email with an 89% spam score doesn't quite make the cut, so it gets labeled not spam. But if we lower that bar to 0.50, that seen 89% score is now way over the line, and it gets flagged as spam. It's the same email, the same AI, but just by changing the threshold, we get a completely different result. So let's walk through exactly how this works. It's a super simple three-step dance. Step 1, the model spits out its probability score. Let's say for this email, it's 0.75. Step 2, we, the humans, set our classification threshold. Maybe we're being picky, so we set it high, at 0.80. And finally, step 3, the model makes its decision. Is 0.75 above our 0.80 line? Nope. So the final call is not spam. That's all there is to it. Okay, section 2, getting it right or wrong. So now we're making decisions. But here's the thing. That means we can also be wrong. And it turns out there aren't just two outcomes, right or wrong. There are actually 4 distinct possibilities every single time our model makes a call. First up, the perfect scenario. The model sees a spam email, it correctly calls it spam, and boom, it gets sent right to the spam folder where it belongs. That's a true positive. We wanted it to happen, and it did. A perfect catch. Oof. Now this is where it gets really painful. A false positive. This is when a totally legitimate email, maybe that job offer you've been waiting for, or a critical alert from your bank, gets incorrectly flagged as spam. This is a huge mistake because you might never even see that important message. Then you've got the other kind of error, a false negative. This is when a piece of spam actually fools the filter and lands right in your main inbox. It's annoying, for sure, but maybe not as catastrophic as missing out on that job offer, right? And finally, we have the other success story, a true negative. This is just a normal, everyday, non-spam email that the model correctly identifies and lets right through to your inbox. The system is just working. Exactly what we want. And this is how we organize all 4 of those outcomes. It's called the confusion matrix. Don't let the name scare you. It's basically the ultimate scorecard for our AI. You can see how it maps out what the AI predicted versus what was actually true. This simple little grid gives us a really powerful at-a-glance snapshot of how our AI is performing. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, I get it. The goal is just to be right as often as possible. Makes sense, right? But this is one of the biggest traps in all of machine learning. If you only focus on accuracy, you can end up with a model that seems perfect, but is actually completely useless. So what is accuracy? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's the fraction of predictions the model got right. You just take all the correct classifications, divide by the total number you made, and voila, it's the grade school percentage score of your model. But, and this is a huge but, imagine a model that's 99% accurate, but is completely useless. I know, that sounds impossible, right? How can that happen? Well, it all comes down to a sneaky little problem called class imbalance. Here's how it works.
Think about it. Most of your email isn't spam. Maybe only 1% is actual junk. So, what if we build a really lazy model? A model that does nothing but predict not spam for every single email it sees. What's its accuracy? Well, it would be right 99% of the time, but it would catch zero spam. It's 99% accurate and 100% useless at its job. Okay, section 4, the big trade-off. This is exactly why accuracy alone isn't enough. We need smarter ways to measure what's going on. And this brings us right to the heart of the matter, to this constant tug of war that every single classification model faces. And that tug of war is between two ideas, precision and recall. Let's break them down. Precision asks a really simple question. Of all the times we cried wolf, of all the emails we flagged as spam, how many of them were actually spam? It's all about minimizing those annoying false alarms. Recall, on the other hand, asks a different question. Of all the actual spam out there in the world, how much of it did we actually catch? This is all about minimizing the ones that get away. And here's the absolute key. You can't always have both. Improving one often hurts the other. If you want to be super duper precise and make sure you never accidentally flag a good email, you're going to have to be more cautious. And when you're more cautious, you're going to miss more of the actual spam. Higher precision often means lower recall. It's a trade-off. You have to choose. All right, section 5. Context is everything. So if you can't have both, how on earth do you choose? Which one do you focus on, precision or recall? The answer isn't in some complicated math formula. It's all about looking at the real world and asking a simple question: what happens when we screw up? Okay, let's take a case study, an invasive insect detector. Imagine we're building a model to spot a dangerous bug that could wipe out local crops. What's the cost of a mistake? Well, a false positive means we flag a regular beetle by mistake. An expert wastes 5 minutes looking at it. No big deal. But a false negative? We miss the bug. It reproduces. An entire infestation happens. The cost is absolutely disastrous. In this case, you cannot afford to miss any. You have to prioritize recall, catch everything. Now let's flip it. What about our email spam filter? What's the worst case scenario here? Letting one more piece of junk mail into your inbox? Annoying, sure. But what about a false positive? What if the model grabs a crucial business contract or a message from your family and hides it in the spam folder where you'll never see it? That could be a huge problem. Here, the cost of a false alarm is way higher. You have to prioritize precision. So you might be wondering, how do people actually make this choice in the real world? Well, professionals use special tools to help them see this trade-off. They don't just guess a threshold. They use things like an ROC curve, which basically maps out the model's performance across all possible thresholds. It gives them a bird's eye view of the entire precision recall balancing act so they can pick the absolute perfect spot for their specific problem. Okay, so let's wrap up with what you really need to take away from all this. First, models give probabilities, and we use the threshold to make a decision. Second, simple accuracy can be super misleading, so be careful. Third, you've got this constant battle between precision, which is about avoiding false alarms, and recall, which is about not missing anything. And finally, the most important part, choosing between them has nothing to do with code. It has everything to do with the real-world consequences of being wrong. So that leaves us with one last question to think about. When you're building a model, what's actually more important? Getting the code just right, or deeply understanding the consequences of the decisions that code is going to make? Maybe the most critical skill isn't the programming, but understanding the human impact of it all.